Hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today with the SQL interview prep session. And we have like a very jam-packed session today. So let's just get started very quick and a little bit of introduction about me. My name is Rashmi Krishnamohan. I work as a data analyst at United Way. I have about 7 years of experience in this industry, and I came to Canada as an international student. And I know the struggle of fresh graduates trying to break into tech and data, especially. So it doesn't matter if you're interviewing for startup or even for any FANG or companies, like SQL is always going to be the number one round. And organizations use SQL to filter out the candidates for any data role. And it's one of the most important tools for a data analyst or any data person, even if you're becoming ML engineer or AI engineer or a data analyst or data engineer, it always comes down to SQL. And my goal today is to help you guys feel a little bit confident about solving SQL interview questions. So what to expect in this session is we'll be solving about 10 SQL interview questions, 8 medium and 2 hard questions, mainly from an interview like like SQL interview platforms like Data Lemur and Scratch. And we have approximately 2 hours, and we'll be moving quite fast. Solving 10 questions in this time is a bit ambitious, especially like explaining the questions and the solution towards solving those questions. So I encourage you to keep up and ask questions when needed. And I'm just gonna, share a couple of PDFs that we're gonna work with today. I have also included a couple of platforms for SQL practice that is very handy when you're preparing for any SQL interviews, such as Data Lemur, Scratch, LeetCode, HackerRank, and Mode. I personally love Data Lemur and Scratch because it really is very useful, and it is very it mirrors the real interview questions. So that's what we're gonna focus on today. Most of the questions here are from Data Lemur and Scratch. So I have the links attached to the chat box as well. You can access those links, and I'm just going to follow along each question, and we can solve it together, okay? So I highly encourage you to code along with me, and hands-on practice is the best way for you to improve your SQL skills. And if you find me going a bit too fast, just let me know, and I'm happy to explain any steps again. And just before we dive in, a little bit of disclaimer. There are many ways to solve these SQL questions. Some might prefer using CTE, some might prefer using subqueries or case statements or different types of joins. The solutions I'll be showing are just my approach. So feel free to use any method you're comfortable with. It doesn't have to be my solution that you have to follow along. If you have better solutions, you can solve it along with me. And the goal here is just to solve these questions during this session and to understand SQL interview questions better, okay? And also some of these solutions, in some of these solutions, we're just going to use a couple of window functions like row number, rank, dense rank, and sum over, partition by, etc. So I won't go deep into explaining each one due to the time constraints, but if you're unfamiliar with them or if you want to dive, a little bit deeper, feel free to reach out to me after the session. I'll be happy to help you guys. Okay. So if you guys could go to the first question on the FANG top 3 salaries, you have the link next to it. I'm going to share my screen. Data Lemur and Scratch. So I have the links attached to the chat box as well. You can access those links, and I'm just going to follow along each question, and we can solve it together, okay? So I highly encourage you to code along with me, and hands-on practice is the best way for you to improve your SQL skills. And if you find me going a bit too fast, just let me know, and I'm happy to explain any steps again. And just before we dive in, a little bit of disclaimer. There are many ways to solve these SQL questions. Some might prefer using CTE, some might prefer using subqueries or case statements or different types of joins. The solutions I'll be showing are just my approach. So feel free to use any method you're comfortable with. It doesn't have to be my solution that you have to follow along. If you have better solutions, you can solve it along with me. And the goal here is just to solve these questions during this session and to understand SQL interview questions better. Okay. And also some of these solutions, in some of these solutions, we're just going to use a couple of window functions like row number, rank, dense rank, and sum over, partition by, etc. So I won't go deep into explaining each one due to the time constraints, but if you're unfamiliar with them or if you want to dive, a little bit deeper, feel free to reach out to me after the session. I'll be happy to help you guys. Okay. So if you guys could go to the first question on the FANG top three salaries, you have the link next to it. I'm going to share my screen. You have the question link to it. The link is not working for me. Wait. Okay, I'm going to paste it again in the chat box. The first question's link. Okay, I'm sharing the right screen. Okay. Uh, all right. So let's start with the first question, that is a top three salaries. So if you begin with any SQL interview questions, if it's a medium question, it always comes down to this top salaries question. So it is one of the, good questions that any employers can ask and will ask. I have, I have personally experienced this question myself in some of the interviews I've attended. So this is very, easy to solve, and we'll just like go step by step on how to approach this problem. And my only, advice for you is not to jump straight into the solution when the interviewer asking you to solve it. Not like you do not have to like go into like coding mode as soon as they give you a problem. You have to communicate with the interviewer. You have to like read the question with them and let them know your assumption of your question, and that way you'll be communicating your approach, and they'll be happy to know how you're approaching that particular problem and how you're communicating your soft skills. Everything is being evaluated when you're interviewing. You're just not just the code that they are going to look into. So that's one of the things that I want to convey before we start this. Okay. I'm going to run this code really quick just to see the schema, and then we'll go into, writing the question together. So, as part of an ongoing, someone's on the, okay, as part of an ongoing analysis of salary distribution with the company, your manager has requested a report identifying high earners in each department. A high earner within a department is defined as an employee with a salary ranking among the top three salaries within that department. Okay. So yes, you're tasked with identifying these high earners across all departments. So write a query to display the employer's name along with their department name and salary. In case of duplicates, sort the results of department name in ascending order and then by salary in descending order. And if multiple employees have the same salary, then order them alphabetically. Okay, so I don't want this for now. I'm just gonna write some assumptions that I could take away from this question. So first of all, what they're asking us to do is to identify the high earners across all departments. So high earners in the sense, high earners means among top three salaries within each department, right? So we're going to see top three salary by department. All right. And the next one, what they're asking you is what are all we have to select from the table. So I'm going to say the output columns are going to be they're asking for the employee's name, and they're asking for the department name, and then they're asking for the salary. All right. And then the last thing you have to be really careful is you have to order it by the actual question that they are asking. So some people would miss that part, either order by, or if they're asking you to, round it to a certain decimal places. So you have to make sure that you're answering it till the end. Like you're doing all the requirements that they are asking you to do, okay? So what are the order by clauses that they're asking is um, ascending order, department name by ascending order. So I'm just going to do department name. Ascending is like default in SQL. It's always going to be ascending if you don't mention anything. And then salary in descending order, right? Okay. Okay, salary in descending order, and we have, in case of duplicates, sort the results by department name in ascending order, salary in descending order, and if multiple employees have the same salary, then order them alphabetically. All right. Here you have to note this point in case of duplicates. So there are going to be duplicates, and we have a function like window function to, help with in this case, like called dense rank. A certain window functions, they behave very similarly. For example, row number and rank, they ignore the duplicates. They just like rank the entire table based on the partition by an order by clause. But for the duplicate, if you see duplicates here and you have to use window function, you automatically go to dense rank. So that is what we have to note here. And then in case of the employees having the same salary, then order them alphabetically. So they're asking you to order it by their employee name. So ascending in the ascending order. So I'm not going to do anything. And as I mentioned, to address duplicates, we have dense rank function. Okay. So let's start solving it. We have all the assumptions that we need. And so we'll just look at the two tables that we have with us, employee and department table, right? So department table is not needed for now because only for the output columns, we are looking at the department name. And till then, for all the other things, we can just work with the employee schema column, okay? I'm just going to select star from employees. Okay, so what I want to do here is I want to use the dense rank function. Okay, dense rank function, the syntax is dense rank, open close brackets, and there's an over clause. And we are going to partition it by department since they're asking you to rank it by the department, all right? So dense rank over partition by. Partition by actually works similar to group by, all right? Partition by department ID. And the second part of the dense rank function is always going to be order by. So I want to order it by salary, obviously, but we have to order it by salary in descending order so that the highest salary becomes the first rank. So I'm going to give it an alias name as RN. I hope you guys are solving this together with me, along with me. So I highly encourage you to do that. I'll give you some time after I solve this to give you some time to like run this code after I'm done. So please solve along with me. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna run this code and see what is, wait a minute. Order by salary descending. All right. One second. Salary is the column name and we have the department ID, right? From employee table, my bad. Okay. All right, so what we have here is, as you can see, for the department ID, just to go over the rank window function with you guys, for the first department, Olivia Smith has a higher salary, and that's why she has the rank 1. And James and Amelia, they both have 4,000. So because each employee might have the same salaries, that's why we use dense rank function. That's why they both are 2. And then the third one would be Emma Thompson, that is 3,800, that's 3. If we are not using dense rank, right? If you're using rank, it would be 1, 2, 2, it would skip a rank and it would be 4. So when we are looking at top 3, Emma Thompson would not be included in our result, which is not right. Okay, that's why we are using the dense rank function. I hope that's clear with you guys. And same goes for department two. 8,000 is the highest salary for Logan Moore, and that's why they have the rank one. All right. So I'm going to put this in a CTE so that it'll be clear for me to use for the next set of queries that I'm going to write. You can use subqueries if you're comfortable with that. All right. So let's start from that CTE. So we can do where Rn is less than or equal to 3 because they're asking for the top 3 salaries. That's why we're using this. But I don't want the Rn to be included in my final result. We want the output column's name. I'm not going to do star. That's why we're going to do name and then we have salary, right? But for the department name, we just have the department ID. So we are going to do a join here. We're going to join it with the second table. That's the department table, right? I'm going to give an alias D on D dot department ID equal to CTE dot department ID. All right. So now that we have the department joined, we are going to do the department name. I'm going to copy the exact name, column name here, and I'm going to do it over here. All right. I'm going to run this code. And so we have the results so far, but we still have to order it by the requirements that they have asked us. Okay. So we're going to do order by. So first one is department name. We're going to order it by department name and ascending. You don't have to give ascending, it's default. And then we are going to do salary, that is descending order. So we're going to do descending. Okay, I'm going to admit a couple of people. And then lastly, we have our name because, for example, right, where does it go? Okay, Noah Johnson and William Davis, it's already in ascending order, so it doesn't matter. But still, in case it's not in ascending order, it should be Noah and Williams because they both have the same salary. That's why they're asking us to sort it by name. All right, I'm gonna run this code. And my example output needs to have department name first. So I'm gonna actually exchange the columns and then name and then salary. So we have these, I'm gonna submit this, right? So that's the solution that they are expecting us to do. So if you have any questions, do you want me to go over the solution again, or are you good with this?
I have a question.
Uh, I can barely hear you. Can you speak up?
Yeah, is this better?
Yeah, hi. Yep.
Okay. It says like top three highest earners. But I see like data analysts like four times.
Yes, that's because two salaries are same, right?
Oh, okay.
For Amelia Lee and James Anderson. That's why we use 10th rank function. So the third salary would be 3,800. Since two people are coming under the 4,000, the second rank, we need to include the third salary as well because that's a requirement. That's the reason we use the dense rank function. Else, if we use the rank function, Emma Thompson would not be included, which is not right. They're asking us to include Emma Thompson.
I see. Okay. So it's about the different numbers, not the total number of people.
Oh no, it's about different top three salaries
I see. Okay.
and who
Thank
are
you.
coming under those three salaries. All the people, if five people are getting 4,000 a salary, they all have to be included here. Okay, perfect. Can we move on to the second question? Let's get started with the this is asked in Amazon's SQL interview. So we're gonna do the highest grossing items. I have placed a link to this question in the chat box if you want to follow along. Okay, let's read the question together. Okay, so assume you're given a table containing data on Amazon customers and their spending on products in different category. Write a query to identify the top two highest grossing products within each category in the year 2020. And output should include these three columns: category, product, and total spend. All right. I'm going to run this and delete this code. I don't want this for now. And I'm going to do some assumptions. And I highly encourage you to do the same during your interviews too, not just code straight away, jump into the coding straight away. Just make some assumptions, talk to the interviewer about your understanding of the problem, and then solve the problem. Okay, so the first thing that I could note right away is the year 2020. So they just want the particular year 2022. So I am going to filter it out in the first query itself using the where clause. All right, we can do that. All right, and the next one is top two highest grossing products within each category. All right, so they're asking us to do top two highest grossing product. Okay. And we have to partition it by category, or we have to group it by category. We can do both ways. So I'm going to do group by. Oh, that's my understanding for this question. And then are they asking you to output three columns? Output category, just going to copy it. And total expenditure. All right, let's just see the table schema and see what are all the columns, tables you're working with. There's just one table called product spend. And we have the categories: product, washing machine, vacuum, wireless headset, etc. We have the user ID and the expenditure, and then the transaction date. All right. The first thing that comes to my mind is we have to extract the year from the transaction date and then filter out only 2022. We don't bother about 2021 or 2023 that are present in the table right now. Okay. So now that is done, we have to uh, so two or three users can buy washing machine on one particular date, correct? So we have to sum all the expenditure based on that particular transaction date for that category. So we have to do a sum and then group it by the category and the product. All right. So that's my understanding, and we'll just jump into the problem. I'm gonna admit some people real quick. Okay. All right. Let's do it. Let's select star from product spent. All right. So instead of star, I'm going to do the category and product because I'm going to group it by that. All right. So the next column I'm going to do is sum of the spend column. All right. I'm going to call it as total spend. All right. So as I mentioned, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to extract the year from the transaction date and then filter it out to only include to 2022. So I'm going to use a where clause where, so we are using PostgreSQL. We don't have anything else for now in data anymore. So in PostgreSQL, to extract date from transaction date, we have to use a date part uh, function. So the syntax is date part, and what do you want to extract from transaction date? Year, month, day. So I'm going to give year, comma, and the column that we want to extract it from, right? And I'm going to do 2022. I'm going to run this and see what is gonna, oh, what did I do? It's supposed to be, oh, I missed a comma over here. Okay. Oh, yeah. So since we are doing a sum, we have to group it by the category and product. So group by these two columns. All right. So we have in appliance refrigerator was like about $300. In electronics, this particular headphone jack was $799. So we have all this for this particular year, 2022. All right. I'm just it's all over the place, the category. So I'm just gonna order it by category to just for me to understand the table a little bit better. Okay. So appliance are all together and electronics is all together. Okay. So now that we have this, I'm gonna put this in a CT so that I can work with this. All right. So, so we can do what we can do over here is we have to see the top two highest grossing products within each category, right? So obviously we can use a row number window function or a rank window function. I don't see any total, expense, duplicated or repeated. So we don't have to use dense rank. We can just use rank or row number. Both works the same thing, same way. So I'm going to use row number. All right. So syntax is row number, open close bracket. You don't have to give anything over there. And then in over clause, there should be two, partition by and order by. So partition by, it works similar to group by. I'm going to partition it by category. That's what they want. Top two highest grossing products within each category. So I'm going to do category. We have someone in the waiting room. Just a second. Okay. So I'm going to partition by category and then order it by total spent column. All right. And since we want the top two, I want to do descending, right? So that the top amount is going to have the rank one. And I'm going to give an alias as RN. All right. I'm going to run this just to show you what it looks like. All right. So in appliance column, in appliance category, obviously 439.80 is the top category top product for washing machine. That's going to have rank one. And in electronics, vacuum is the top product with 486.66 as total spend. That's why it's having rank one. So obviously we want the top two in each category. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to put another. So you can use 100 CTs too. You just have to do a comma and then new CT name that is called, we can call it ranking or something, ranking as, so that you can work with this instead of like nested subqueries, which would not be very clear uh, or readable. So that's why I like using CTs. So I'm going to do select star from ranking where RN is less than or equal to 2. If they're asking top 3, you can use less than or equal to 3. So it's the same concept, but you can use it for different case scenarios. So I don't want all the columns. I don't want to include the RN column especially. So instead of star, I have to give the actual column name, category, product, and total spend is what they are requesting us to. Okay, I'm going to run this. So we have top two products for appliance and top two products for electronics. I'm going to submit it and see if it is correct. Okay, perfect. Now this is the solution for the highest grossing items. This is an Amazon SQL interview question. Do you have any question? um, let's do the next question. It's highest cost order. That's also an Amazon SQL interview question. I already solved this. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to place the link to the question over here on the chat box. This question is from Strata Scratch. I like this platform because some of the questions have video solutions too. So in case you're not having any idea about how to solve the question, you can actually go and look at the videos. But I highly request you not to, look at the solution before, solving the, problem yourself, because they might have used a different approach. Some might prefer CTs, as I mentioned, and subqueries, but I want you to like think about the solution first and solve it. Try to solve it. If you're not able to solve it after like a couple of hours, I would, suggest looking at the solution or discussion forum. All right, let's go. Okay. So find the customer with the highest daily order cost between the 1st of February 2019 to 1st of May 2019. If customer had more than one order on a certain day, sum the order cost on daily basis, and they're asking us to output customer's first name, total cost of the item, and then the date. For simplicity, you can assume that that every first name in the dataset is unique. So you don't have any ID column, you have just the I'm gonna let the person in the waiting room. Okay. All right. So first things first, obviously, I'm going to filter it out. I'm going to use between. There's a function called between. So I'm going to do a between bad clause where I'm going to filter it out. And then the second one is I have to use obviously a sum over, because I want to sum all the order costs based on a particular transaction date, right? Order date. So that's what they're asking us to do. So I'm going to do a sum of obviously order cost, and I'm going to group it by, we can use group by, or we can use the window function. I'm going to group it by the date, right? Uh, that's all I have for this. Is a very simple question, so I'm going to jump into solution. Okay, select start from. We have two tables, by the way. We have customers table and orders table. We don't have to bother about the customers table for now, just the same as the first question we solved, because we just have to get the name from that table. The rest of the things that we have to do is on the orders table. So we'll do the join at the end. So, but we are just going to do, you're going to see the table schema of orders table. So I'm going to run this code. Okay. So we have the ID, cust ID, which we can join with the customers table's ID and get the first name. We have the order date column, and that we can use a where clause to filter the months, February, April, March, and April. And then the order details, it's not necessary, I guess. And then the total order cost. Okay. So let's start. So I'm going to do, what I'm going to do here is after the star, I'm going to do obviously sum of, I'll replace the star after a while. I just want to know what I'm going to partition by first, and then use that column over here. So I'm going to do the total sum of total order cost over partition by. You can use group by as well. I'm going to do it by customer ID and the order date. That's what they're asking us to do. All right. I'm going to do partition by first ID and then the order date. All right. I'm going to name it as, do we have an expected output? Okay, I'm just going to do total cost or max cost. Okay. That's what they want us to name it as. Okay. From orders table. And obviously, as I mentioned, we are going to filter out the table using the where clause where order date between 2019 to 1 and 2019 by 1. All right. So I'm going to use these two columns instead of star. I don't want to see everything. Okay. So we have the maximum cost for each order date. So some of all the orders that each customer has done during each date, I might have like for example, in on Amazon, I might have ordered three items on the same day. That's what they are asking us to do. So for my customer ID during March 1st, I have spent about $80. That's the case that we have to do right now. That now that we have this over here, we can actually like rank it and then check the total cost of the items and then the date of the maximum cost that the person has spent. So the objective of this solution is we are going to see which customer on which date made the highest order. Okay, highest order amount has the highest order amount. That's the thing that they're asking us to do. All right, so I want this to be the CT, so I'm going to do with CT as I want. Okay, so instead of next to the star, I'm going to do a rank or a row number function. Again, it both acts the same way, so I'm going to use row number. I like this window function. I use it a lot, so I'm going to use over partition by. I'm going to partition this by total cost. I'm sorry, I'm not going to partition by anything. I don't want anything, right? Sorry. That's my muscle memory. Every time I write over, I always do partition by. I'm going to do order by. I don't care who ordered on which date. I just want to see the maximum cost at the rank one of that. So I'm going to do descending. I'm going to do as RN, right? So I'm going to run this. So this particular customer on this date has ordered for $275, right? Since we have duplicates, I don't want that. So I'm going to actually use a distinct over here because we don't want duplicates, all the same thing. We can use either here or here. I'm going to do it over there. So on 19th of April, customer ID 7 is the highest. So that's what they want us to uh, output. So I'm going to use another CT that is called ranking as. So select what are all the things that I want. Uh, First name, I don't have first name, so we have to do a join. I have the order date, I'm going to do order date, and then I have the max cost with me. So from ranking, I'm going to join this with the customers table on customers dot ID is nothing but the user ID, the customer ID, and then we can join it with rankings cust ID, right? And now we have joined the two tables. We can now use the first name. And then we just want to see the top person, like the top one, that is a rank one. So I'm going to do RN equal to 1. All right. So Jill on 19th of April, they spent $275. That's what we also got. So I'm just gonna solve it again. So it's in green, so that means this is correct. Okay, this is done. Do you have any questions? Am I going too fast or is it okay if I go to the next question? Okay, next is the Walmart SQL interview question. All right. I'm gonna paste the link to the question over here. It's from Data Lemur. And okay, if you guys want to follow along, the link is on the chat box. Okay. So the question is histogram of users and purchases. Okay. Assume you're given a table on Walmart user transactions. Based on the most recent transaction date, write a query that retrieves the users along with the number of products that they bought. Output the user's most recent transaction date, user ID, and the number of products sorted in chronological order by transaction date. Chronological order in the sense the order that in which that happen automatically. So it's in ascending order. That's what they're asking for. I'm going to run the code just to have my output over here, and I don't want this anymore. Okay, let's do some assumptions. All right. So um, okay, I'm going to from the most recent transaction. So most recent transaction date means they want to see the transaction date in descending order, right? So that's what I want to assume over here. If I had the interviewer with me, I would ask if this is what they actually mean, or just to get a confirmation. That's it. And write a query that retrieves the users along with the number of products that they bought. So what they want is, they want to group by user, group by or partition by, that's the same thing. And they want us to get the number of products. That means count of products, right? All right. Um, and they want, what are all the output columns that they want? Transaction, most recent transaction date, that means transaction date descending. Number of products, that is a count, this one, right? And then user ID, that is also in ascending, I guess. Okay. Um, all right. So now that we have all the assumptions that we need, we're just gonna solve the problem, okay? We have just one table with product ID, user ID, expenditure, and then the transaction date. All right. Now we have a clear understanding of what we need. Selection of transaction, user transactions. Okay. So what I have to do here is I can use any aggregate functions can be used as a window function. For example, the one I used before, sum of the numerical column over partition by. Same way, you can do the same thing for average, count, pretty much anything. So this is very handy. I actually stopped using group by in my day-to-day queries. I started using window functions. So this is very helpful. I'm going to do count of product ID. We don't have products at the product ID. So I'm going to do an over clause and then partition this by. They want us to partition it by user ID, right? That's what we understood from the question. And then right. We have to see the transaction date as well, right? So I'm going to do it in the partition by clause as well. So I'm going to make this name as purchase count, right? That's what they have the example output column name as. Okay. So from user transaction. So we have to use the same columns on the top instead of star. Same way the group by works. Right, let's see. Okay. So user ID 115 on this date made one purchase. On this day, they made one purchase. The same way, 123 user ID, they made two purchases. So we got the count of product that they want us, okay? Next, what we have to do is we have to see the most recent transaction date. That way we can rank it and order it by the transaction date descending. So that we'll have like the rank one. That's what we want to uh, output it. Okay, so I'm gonna make this as city, make city as, you can use subqueries if you want. Okay, select star, comma, row number over. Okay, So again, you have to see each user's recent transaction date. So we have to see the partition by user ID only for the CTE. But oops, partition by, and then we can order by transaction date descending. That way we can address the most recent transaction. Okay, I'm going to make the alias as RN as usual, and I'm going to use this CTE. Okay, so as you can see, 115 users latest transaction is the 12th of July, and for 123 it's 11th of July, and for 159 it's 12th of July. All right, so we just want the rank one for each of the users. Okay, so I'm gonna make this as ranking CTE. All right, ranking as. So this way we can just work with the simplified table. So select star from ranking where Rn equal to 1. All right, but I don't want everything. I don't want to include Rn especially. So I'm going to do the transaction date. I'm going to do the user ID, and I'm going to do the purchase amount. All right. So I think we have included everything, but let's see if they are asking us to order by something. Yeah, we need to order it by transaction date, count of products, and then user ID, right? So we should not forget that. That's a mistake that everyone makes. They forget to order by. So order by transaction date. We already have it ordered by user ID. So I'm gonna do transaction date. All right. Is this correct? Okay, perfect. It's accepted as the right solution. Okay, next question. We have Google SQL interview question. Oh, that's if time permits. Okay, let's go to if time permits, we'll get back to that. Oh, this is an interesting question. Twitter's rolling average. We'll do that. Okay. Oops, I don't want this. We'll solve it from scratch. I've pasted the link to this question in the chat box if you want to follow along. Okay. I don't want to. I want to see the table schema and I'm reading the question, right? Okay. So, given a table of tweet data over a specified time period, calculate the 3-day rolling average of tweets for each user and output the user ID, tweet date, and rolling averages rounded to 2 decimal places. This is very, very interesting because I have faced this interview question myself, and they may ask about 7-day rolling period, rolling average, or if they can ask like rolling totals instead of average, we have to use sum. They might call it as running totals or something like it's always like the same solution. You can just tweak it a little bit or change it a little bit. It's always going to be the same concept. So if you have this in hand, it'll be very useful for you guys. So let me close the chat box. Okay. Okay. So we'll do the assumptions as usual, right? So we have to do the 3-day rolling average, right? Of the tweet count. Okay, obviously. So if you don't know about the rolling average, let me just give you what they're asking about is for this particular date, 1st of June, that's tweet count is 2, right? So 2 days prior would be, we don't have any values of that. So the rolling average of 3-day rolling average would be just 2. That's why it's 2 over here. And for the 2nd of June, it's 1, 2, average of 1, 2, and then one more. We don't have that. So 1 plus 2 by 2. That's why it's 1.50, okay? And then for this June 3, the rolling average would be 3 plus 1 plus 2 by 3. That's why it is 2, okay? 3 plus 1, 4 plus 2, 6 by 3 is 2. That's why it's, okay? And then for the 4th of June, it's 4 plus 3 plus 1 by 3, it's 2.67. And then 5 plus 4 plus 3 divided by 3, it's 4. So this is what they're asking us to do. For each user ID, they want to see the rolling average. Okay, so now that we're clear with that, we are asked to round it to two decimal places. Don't forget that you have to read the question fully, okay? And then they have given us two nodes, a rolling average, also known as moving average, so they might call that as well, or running mean is a time series technique that examines trends in data over a specified period of time. In this case, we want to determine how the tweet count for each user changes for over a 3-day period. So this is very simple. Let's just get into the tweets. Okay, instead of star, other than star, I'm gonna do average, right, of this column. As I mentioned, you can use window function on any aggregate functions. So average sum, if they're asking rolling total, you can use sum over here instead of average. Over partition by, for each user, they're asking rolling average. So that's why I'm gonna group it or partition it by user ID, right? And obviously I want to order it by tweet date ascending, not descending, ascending. I want it to go with the flow, okay, in ascending order. So I'm going to do order by tweet date. All right. Okay, I'm going to add one line here. Okay, this is where you can make this very easy, and this you can use it for anything that any rolling average question that they ask you. There is something called rows between. Oh, I want this to be caps. Rows between preceding and current row, unbounded preceding and current row, and like we have a lot of combinations. But here we have to do preceding because as I mentioned, current row and two preceding would give us the rolling average, 3-day rolling average. So that's why we are going to do this exactly the same thing. Rows between two preceding, there's a function called preceding, and current row. So for each row, it's gonna look at two preceding and the current row, okay? Uh, yeah, lead and lag might work too. This is just this is very simple. It's just one line of code and you can use it very easily. If you just know that one line for any rolling average question, it will be very easy to solve. That's why I went with this logic, but lead and lag works perfectly. Okay. Just this, and I already have the braces closed for this, and I'm gonna call this as, what do they call it? Rolling average 3 days. Okay, I'm going to run this. We have the rolling average for 3 days, but as I mentioned, we need to round it to two decimal places. So for that, we can just do a round function. And at the end, comma 2. That's it. Okay, so we don't need star. We just need user ID, tweet date, and then the rolling average that's already there. All right. Just what they want, else the solution won't be accepted. That's why I didn't use star. I'm going to, do they ask any order by? I don't think so. So I'm going to submit it and see. Accepted. Okay. This is a solution that I went with, the logic I went with. Just this one line of code is what you need to solve any, edge scenarios that might come up. Like, for example, they might ask 3-day or 5-day, 7-day rolling total, whatever. So, okay, that's it for this question. We're actually on a good timeline, so I'm going to go with the next question. Yeah, we can use lead and lag. feel free to use lead and lag in your solution. Yeah, please. Okay. I am going to. Oh, I did send it to just one person. Sorry. Okay. Okay. So we have the Wayfair SQL interview question, which is called Year on Year Growth. All right. I am going to. Okay, I just want the schema before I read the question and then make assumptions. So, okay, you're given a table containing information about the transactions, user transactions for different products. Write a query to calculate the year-on-year growth rate for the total spend of each product. Okay, assume you're given a table containing information about Wayfair user transactions for different products. Write a query to calculate the year-on-year growth rate for the total spend for each product, grouping the results by product ID. All right. So year on year is nothing but, so the growth rates formula is new minus old by old. So we need to see the previous year, current year, so that we can use this formula, right? New minus old by old. That is current minus previous by previous. Okay, that's what we're going to do right now. Okay, so I'm going to write that over here. Okay. Current minus previous by previous year. Okay. So for the year, we have to extract the same way from the transaction date column. We have to use the date part function. If you're using PostgreSQL, you can use, if you're using MS SQL Server, you can use the year function directly, or you can use the extract function. But for PostgreSQL, I think date part is the way to go. Okay, so I'm going to do the output columns would be to include year in ascending order. So order by year, and then they want product ID, and then they want current year spent, and then previous year spent, right? They want these to be the column names. So it's very easy to do. So we're going to do that. All right. And then the percentage. These are all the columns that they want us to do, but they want the year to be in ascending order, right? And then obviously we have round two decimal places. Okay, perfect. I'm going to do the select statement again. So next to sum, I'm going to do the date part so that I will get the year from the transaction date. Date. As I'm going to call this as transaction year, maybe something like that. That it's clear. Okay, we have, I don't want the transaction ID. I just want the product ID because that's what they want the results to be, product results with product ID. So I don't want the transaction ID. Does it make sense? And then obviously I want the spend. I'm going to run it and see. Oh, I missed a comma over here. Okay, so now we have the transaction here. We can work with that. So I'm going to call this city as year or something. Year is a keyword, so I can't use year. With maybe transaction, that's a pretty big name. I'm going to do this as, okay. And then obviously I'm going to do select start from. transaction year. All right. So now we can use the lag function the same way as we can do the previous question as well. So the lag function's formula, what it does is it is going to lag the year, I mean the expenditure by 1 year. Like for example, the 100 it goes down. Just one row would be going down. If we mention the one, if you're mentioning two, it'll lag by two. If you're mentioning three, it like so on. So we are going to do the lag statement over here. This is what I'm meaning. So lag of spend comma one, that's what we are going to give, and then over clause partition by product ID. Okay, we got this. We have the solution with us. So as I mentioned, I'm going to do the columns later. I'm just going to do a lag. I'm going to extract everything. I'm going to do a lag function on spend column, and I want to lag it by one. All right. And obviously over, I want to partition it by product ID. That's what they want us to do. Okay. And then I'm going to order it by transaction year, because I don't want to do any ascending. I just want it to be the same way that it is ascending order. All right. I'm going to call this as previous year. All right. So we want this particular spend to be named as current year, so that way we can have this column and that column same way. Okay. Instead of star, I'm going to do the transaction year as year, comma, spend as, this is what they want us to call the current year. So spend as current year, and we have the previous year spend over here. That's what the lag function did. And then we'll do the year-on-year rate in the next CTE maybe. I'm going to call this as lag, something like that. Okay. So now that we have this, you do it in the same CTE, or you don't have to use CTE at all. I'm just going to do this for readability and stuff. I don't know. So I just want to show it to you so that the 1,500 for 2019, it's now over here. That's a previous year spend. That way we can do the numerator and denominator. So current year minus previous year by previous year. That way we can have that formula worked out. Okay, I'm going to do that over here now. So the formula is current year minus previous year divided by previous year. Okay. Oh, my bad. Come on. I'm going to call it as year-on-year rate, okay? Since it is just a ratio, we want to get the percentage, right? They want the year-on-year growth percentage, so I'm going to multiply this by 100. And obviously, we have to round it to two decimal places because this is not very good. Round, comma 2. Right? Perfect. Okay. They want the year to be in ascending order that we got. I think we can submit this and see if this is getting accepted. Oops, what did I do? Oh, I missed the product ID. They wanted product ID. My bad. 1 second. I want the product ID as well. Okay, perfect. Uh, this is my solution to this problem. Is everyone clear? Do you want me to slow down, or are we good to move on to the next question? Okay, awesome. 1, 2, 3, 4. We just have 4 more questions. That's great. We'll move into Meta's SQL interview questions next. I don't want the solution. I'm going to do it from scratch with you guys. Okay, I have pasted the link to the question in the chat box. This question is from Strata Scratch. This is very easy. We just have to make a couple of assumptions and then it's still a medium interview question because we have to follow some things to get to the solution. So let's move on to this question. Calculate the ratio of accounts closed on January 10th, 2020 using this table. So obviously I'm going to use the ratio. That means we don't have to multiply it by 100. So ratio and ratio of accounts closed, meaning ratio of accounts closed on that particular date divided by ratio of all accounts on that particular date. So that is the meaning of this question. So ratio, I'm going to do close divided by all accounts on Jan 10. All right. This is my assumption. I'm not multiplying by 0. And obviously, I'm going to, as it's a ratio, I just want it to look good. I'm going to round to 2 decimals. You don't have to, but okay. I'm going to do select star from FP account status. I'm going to see the table schema. We have the account ID, we have the date, and then the status closed. We don't want anything over here. These two are not needed. I mean, obviously we need the account ID, but it doesn't matter. I mean, just for the where clause. So I can do it two ways. I can use it in the where statement or I can use it in the case statement. I have two solutions. If you want, you can use the other method. I'm just going to do a case statement because I want to incorporate case statement in this event because it is very handy and it is useful. And that's why, okay? So I'm going to do a case when date equal to so it's 2020 Jan 10th, right? And status equal to closed. Then I'm going to make it as 1. Why I'm doing 1.0 is sometimes integer by integer, it would be 0 if it's not multiplied by 100. That's why I always do 1.0 so that you don't have to convert it to decimal manually. It would just automatically makes this column as float or decimal, okay? So every case statement needs an end, and then end as I'm gonna do this as numerator or something. Yeah, right? We have this, okay? Since we have this, we can sum it to get the number of accounts closed, right? And then the same way, instead of doing the status close, we need all accounts. So I'm just gonna do the date over here. So I'm going to make this as denominator. Okay, I think we have it. We don't even need keys to, okay? With CT as or calculation CT as something like that. We can just name it properly. Um, Select start from CT. I'm just going to let you, oops, what did I do? Hmm. Oh, then, okay, like that. Case when date is equal to this and status equal to this, then 1. Case when date is equal to this, then 1. That's it. So this would be a numerator that is closed account. This would be all accounts in that particular date. So we have the numerator and denominator, and from this, it's very easy. Obviously, numerator divided by denominator. And you'll get this, and I don't like the way it looks. I'm going to round it to 2 decimal places. Oh, what did I do? Okay. I'm going to call this as loss ratio. I think the expected output and our output looks the same, so obviously it's going to be accepted. It's green. If you use else, you won't have another column to work with. We need both numerator and denominator. If you use else, it would be in the same column, so you can't use that. That's a good question, though. Okay, perfect. Now we move on to the next question if you don't have any other doubts. Okay, we still have, after this, we still have two more hard questions. These are all medium level questions. So, uh, okay, I'm going to be very quick. Uh, Solutions, okay. So you have a data set that records daily active users for each premium account. This is from Meta again, by the way. A premium account appears in the data every day as long as it remains premium. However, some premium accounts may be temporarily discounted, meaning they are not actively paying, and this is indicated by the final price of 0. Okay, let me just select the table for you so that you know what I'm talking about. Okay, if the final price is 0, then they're not premium members. So in that case, we can use a where statement to exclude them. We just have to include the people who are not equal to 0, that they are the prime members, okay? For each of the 7 available dates, count the number of premium accounts that were actively paying on that day, and then track how many of those same accounts remain premium and are still paying exactly 7 days later. So what they're asking is they want to see for each date how many of them are prime accounts, premium accounts. And then if that same person is still paying exactly 7 days later, this is actually a hard question. I don't know why they have marked it as medium. Um, so let's see. Where is that? I'm going to do the assumptions first. All right. Okay, so first thing we have to do is we have to see where final price is not equal to 0. We have to include only that, and that way we get all the premium, that would be the premium members. And then the next city, what we have to do here is we have to use a self join actually to see if that same member paid exactly 7 days later, then only they are premium members. Then only we can get that in that column. That's why we have this premium paid accounts after 7 days as well. So what we are going to do is select star from, okay. Okay, so we have the entry date, right? And what we can do is sum of no, sorry. So we can see we can use this in wave clause as I mentioned last time too. In case when the final price is not equal to 0, then we can do this as 1. Uh, Else 0, and so whenever they are not equal to 0, then they are prime members, right? So I'm going to count the number of prime members. I'm going to do sum of that, right? As I'm going to call it premium paid accounts. Okay. So we want to see the premium paid accounts by the 7 available dates. So they are asking us to do it by date. So we want to use this entry date column, right? I'm going to group it by entry date. Okay. Okay, we have this. I have a question. Oh, I didn't. My bad. Okay. Sorry, guys. The link to the question is now in the chat box. Okay. Okay, now that we have this, we are good with the first two columns for now. Let's see. Okay, I'm gonna call this as CT1 or something, or premium account, something like that. Okay. So for this, right, what I'm gonna do here is I'm going to use self join and then see if the same account is being is paying after 7 days too. So I'm gonna use the same uh thing, but what I'm gonna do here is I want to use the same thing here, but still they are gonna be like not equal to zero, only their primary premium paid members, but then we have to check for the account ID. Okay, we have to use P1 join. Yeah, I'm going to self join with the same thing. I'm going to call it as P2. Okay, on P1 dot account ID. I'm going to use the account ID of this particular thing, and it should match the account ID of the P2, same column. And we're going to compare the same account IDs, but we are going to use one more condition, that P2's entry date equal to P1's entry date plus 7 days. Okay, we have a function called interval. Okay, and 7 days. This is the syntax for that. So P2's entry date should be P1's entry days plus 7 days. That's what they're asking, exactly 7 days later, if they are still paying, the same account ID is still paying or not. Okay. So same thing. I want to group it. I want to use the same entry date because they want it by date. We have entry date in both, so I'm going to use either one of these aliases, or else it will throw me an ambiguous column error. I'm going to use P1, and same way I have to group it by P1 dot entry date. So one thing I'm forgetting over here is we have the final price, but we don't know which final price we're talking about. Both of them have P1 and P2, both of the tables have the final price. So we have to put both conditions. So P1's final price should not be equal to 0, and P2's final price should not be equal to 0. Then only they are called as premium paid members, but they are called after 7 days. The same thing, but we have these two columns with these two CTs. I'm going to call this as after 7 something days, or CT2, whatever you prefer. So now that we have this, we can join these two CTs and get these two columns next to each other. Okay, so let's start from CT1 join CT2 or something. Um, okay. So we're going to use the entry date as the common column. But we don't want to repeat the column name, so I'm just going to give P1's entry date, and I want to have, CT1's entry date, and I'm going to do CT1's premium paid accounts. And from this column, from this tables after 70 CT, I'm going to do only the 7-day column. What did I do? Oh, P1. My bad. Uh, okay. I think we are good, but we are still not, this is still not right. Hmm, let's see. P1 dot account ID equal to P2 dot account ID and P2 dot entry date equal to P1 dot entry date plus interval 7 days. Hmm. Did I use the wrong column over here? 1 second. Hmm. P2 dot entry date is nothing but hmm. Oh, getting this order by. But still, I'm getting 7, 8. I mean, I'm getting 13 and 12, right? Oh, thank you. I missed that. Okay, perfect. Uh, thank you so much, Jay. I missed the order by it was. Okay. I think this was a pretty big solution, but do you guys have any doubts or is it clear? Okay, no worries. Let's move on to the last two questions, that is the hard questions. So far, we have tackled 8 medium questions. This is active user retention question from Meta, and the difficulty is hard. I'm going to delete this. I'm going to paste the link to the question in the chat box. We have 30 minutes, so we're just gonna have less time for questions at the end. Okay, let's do the active user retention. I'm just gonna read the question and understand and let you know the assumptions. Okay, so assume that you are given a table containing information on Facebook user actions. Write a query to obtain number of monthly active users (MAUs) in July 2022, including the month in the numerical format 1, 2, 3. So obviously 1, 2, 3 in the sense we are going to do a date part in the event date column. Okay. Hint, an active user is defined as a user who has performed actions such as sign in, like, or comment in both the current month and the previous month. Okay. So obviously we have the month and the year, July 2022. So that's the current month. The previous month is June 2022. So we are going to do two CDs, one for previous year, one for current year. And obviously in both the CDs, there's going to be a where clause where the event type is going to be this, this, or this. Since there's an or keyword, you can use the in function or function, whatever you prefer. So this is pretty not too difficult, but still it's going to take us like a couple of CTs to get to the solution. Okay, let's do for June first. Okay, so I'm going to do, oops, why did I delete that? Okay, I'm going to do the previous year. So I'm going to do a date part of year from the event date column. All right. As I'm going to call it as year, something like that. Okay. But we want this in the VAT clause like that. Okay, where your sorry, we want the month. Sorry guys. We want the month to be equal to, it's all 2022, so we don't have to bother about the year. So month equal to 6. July is 7, so June is going to be 6, right? So that's the where clause. So we have that, and we need to extract the date, I mean month again. That's what we have been asked to do, including the month in the numerical format. So we want the month over here. So I'm going to make it a month or something. Okay. Let me run and see what it is going to give. Okay. So we have one more clause, that is the event type. It already has like sign and everything, but we just have to make that event type in. That's what I mentioned. We can use in because that works like an or clause, okay? If the event type is like, or if the event type is sign in, or if the event type is comment, I have to include all three. Okay, this is for previous year, previous month, sorry. Right. So we can do the same thing for current year, right? So I'm going to call this as, sorry, current month. That's my bad. I'm going to do 7 over here, okay? The same thing for current month, with one count. And we need to separate the cities with one comma, okay? Uh, all good. So I don't want all of this, okay? I just want the user ID because we want to see the monthly active users and nothing else matters. Actually, we just want the month and the user ID. So I'm gonna do the same thing for both. Instead of star, I'm gonna do the user ID and then we have the month. That's it, right? Okay. Now that we have this, what we can do here is join the current month with the previous month. And then we're gonna have like, if they are both, if the user is in both current month and the previous month, then only we have to return the number of users. You got that? So current month, okay. Why we are using inner join is they have to be in both the months. Okay. Instead of star, what we have to do is we have to count the distinct users. Okay. I'm gonna do, let me start with it. Count of distinct, because there are two 648. I don't want that. So I'm gonna do distinct user ID. Right. But there are you like the user ID is in both the tables, so I have to use the current alias. We can use either C or P. I don't want this. I want the month. So since we're using count, we have to use a group by. Month is also in both the table, I guess. Month. So we have to use either of the C dot month. Let's see if this is right. This is the expected monthly active user. Let's check if this is right. I'm not sure. Oh, that's right. Okay. Okay. So what we did so far is we took the previous month based on the question, July 2022. So we went with June. We went with the current month, that's July, that's 7. And we had these conditions already given. That's why we went with the where clause, event type n for both. And then to get the users that are present in both the tables, we went with join, inner join, and we extracted, I mean, we counted the distinct user ID in both the months. Do you have any questions? Okay, we're down to the last question. It is asked by McKinsey in during the interviews. It's called as pizzas, three topping pizzas. It's very interesting. I don't want this. Okay, I'm going to make sure I'm sending it to everyone. Okay, you got it right. I'm sorry, guys. Uh, okay, this is the last question. We have solved almost 9 questions today together, so kudos to us. So we'll just go with the last one. So this is you're a consultant for a major pizza chain, which will be running a promotion where all three topping pizzas will be sold for a fixed price and are trying to understand the cost involved. Given a list of pizza toppings and consider all possible three pizza toppings, print out the total cost of those three toppings. Okay. Sort the results with the highest total cost on the top, followed by pizza toppings in the descending order. Break ties by listing the ingredients in the alphabetical order, starting from the first ingredient, followed by second, and then third. Uh, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't show you the table schema, so my bad. So we actually have two. Okay, we have just one table. Okay, we have just one table pizza toppings. So what they're asking us to do is we have to find like three toppings combinations, all possible combinations, and then total cost for those three topping pizzas, and which is going to be more costlier. Which three topping pizza is going to be more costlier for that company? Okay. This is actually pretty interesting because we have a couple of notes that we need to note here. Do not display pizzas where a topping is repeated. So we cannot do pepperoni, pepperoni, onion. It should be unique. Should be pepperoni, sausage, chicken, something like that. And then ingredients must be listed in alphabetical order. For example, chicken C comes before O, O comes before S. So chicken, onion, sausage, it can't be the other way around. This is actually pretty helpful scenario that we have to consider because it's going to help us with our joint condition. Okay. So the example output that they're wanting us to do is pizza. That should be all the three toppings combined, concatenated by a comma, and then the sum of all three toppings total cost. Okay. And note that C is less than P and P is less than S. C is less than E, that is like alphabetically, and E is less than S. They want us to do the same thing. Okay. And no two toppings should be repeated. Obviously, we are going to do self-join. Self-join is you know, it comes under like most of the hard SQL questions that people ask in interviews. And then there's like recursive CTEs that is very complex for this particular event. I'm not going to get into that today, but those two like come in handy for most of the hard FANG questions. Uh, so what are the general use cases for self-join? We have a question. So we can use, there's just one table, right? We cannot, get the columns like as of three separate columns and then concatenate it. We need to use self-join to make these three columns to join it together and then concatenate these three columns. We cannot use just one table because there's just one column that's already used by that table, right? We have to use one more. And since that table is already having an ID column or something unique, we can join it with the other column with the same ID or unique column. That will help us to, have multiple columns with the same content. I hope that's clear. In case they are asking you to concatenate something, or for example, if they are asking you to, see if an employee is making which employee comes under which manager, or if which employee is making more than the manager, it all comes under one table. If we have two tables, right, employee table and then manager table, then we can just easily use join. But it all comes under the same table in two columns. In that case, we just have one salary column, but we have like manager ID and employee ID. In that case, we need to use self join. One column is shared by two other columns. I think so. Yeah. I hope that's clear. In this case, we have to get the topping name from the pizza topping thrice, which is not possible. We are going to use cell join. A, B, C, we are going to call that A, B, C. Okay. I'm going to do A, pizza topping A. And from that A, obviously, I'm going to need the topping name. All right. So we are done with the one topping, right? And then I'm going to do one more join, the same table. And I'm going to call it B. Obviously, that is going to come over here. B dot pizza topping name, the same column, obviously. But what we have to do here is in the on condition, we cannot do A dot pizza topping equal to B dot pizza topping because the toppings cannot be repeated. So obviously that is not an option. So there is some case called alphabetical order toppings, right? So that way we can use that on the on condition. So A dot pizza topping name should be less than B dot, oops, B dot topping name. In that way, anything like chicken, if only the first one is chicken, the next one cannot be chicken. It has to be extra cheese or pepperoni or sausage, right? So in that way, we're not repeating anything. And just to be sure, we have to use the and condition, and A dot topping name cannot be equal to B dot topping name, right? Let's do one more join condition. We are good with A and B, right? We are good with two toppings. The next one is pizza toppings again. We're going to make it C, right? On C dot topping name. Oops, sorry. B dot topping name has to be less than C dot topping name, right? I hope that's clear till now. And then for C, we have to use two other conditions. A cannot be equal to B, B cannot be equal to C. Obviously, A cannot be equal to C. We have to include that as well, okay? And B dot topping name cannot be equal to C dot topping name. And got it. So now I'm going to add my C dot topping name. Is it clear so far? Am I going too fast? Okay. So I don't want it all to be having the same column name. I'm gonna make this P1 or T1 something, right? As T2, as T3, okay? So that we can concatenate it later in the next one. This is going to be a CTE, obviously, or it doesn't have to be, it can be a subquery as well, okay? Now that we're good with the toppings, we have to do the total cost, right? So obviously we are gonna add all three ingredient lists. A dot total cost or something ingredient cost plus B dot plus C dot. So this is gonna be what? Total cost. Once you're done with the join condition, once you're comfortable with that, select condition is very easy to, get. You can use star till then, and then once you're done with the further part of your queries, you can go on and change your start to whatever you want it to be. I hope I didn't. Okay, let's see. P is less than S, SA is less than SP. So that is correct. I'm going to randomly check a couple. C is less than SA and SA is less than SP. That is correct. And SC is less than E is less than P. That is also correct. I think we are good. We just have to concatenate T1, T2, and T3. And be careful. They have a note over here. Be careful with spacing or lack of spacing between each ingredients. Refer to our example output. They don't want us to use any spacing. I'm going to use this as a CTE. So obviously there is a function called concat, right? T1, comma. Within quotes, it's going to be a comma and then no space and then a comma to separate the concatenation function. It's going to be T2, comma, within quotes, comma, and then T3. It's going to be called as pizza, right? And then total cost is going to be total cost. Let's see if this works. Okay, I think it worked. But I want my total cost to be sorted in descending order, I think. Where is that? Yeah. Pizza topping should be in ascending order and sort the results with the highest total cost. Okay. So order by. Okay, let me solve this. Submit this. Okay. I don't know what I did. Oh, I didn't. Let me see. This is right. Okay, I still have to do the ascending order for pizza toppings. So that's why I added the pizza over here, and that's the solution. Okay. That's all I have. We actually solved 10 questions in 2 hours, which is very good. I'm very glad that we were able to cover all 10 questions today. I actually have a couple of take-home exercises for you if you're interested, but unfortunately, I can't attach my PDF. I can send it in the chat box if you guys want to try it out. I would suggest try out all the data limit medium questions and a couple of hard questions. Not all hard questions are free. So if they are free, I would suggest you to solve it all. I'm going to paste the link to my take-home exercises in the chat box since it's not working for me. So this is the one I told you, the way you used to self-join for employee and manager salaries. This is the question. You have to use self-join for this as well in order to get the manager employees who are earning more than the manager. Okay, where is that? We have 3 medium questions in my take home and we have 1 hard question. Okay, so that's all I have for you guys today. So before we wrap up, try and solve this problem like the take home exercises and tag Hackforge or myself. When you complete them, I'd love to see your approach, your solutions, and we can discuss it in the comments in your LinkedIn as well. And remember, you won't get better at SQL just by watching or watching any YouTube videos or anything. It's like swimming. You have to actually dive in the water and practice and write queries in data. We have a lot of free resources available in these platforms, and we have to make use of that. Um, so yeah, that's my advice for you guys. I hope this session was very helpful. I tried my best to cover all the possible scenarios. So if you guys like this, we can continue this session. Like we can solve more SQL interview questions together. So for query optimization, CTE would be better for sure. When you are using CTE, it actually makes it more readable and more clear, and you can actually follow along and make like go with the flow, and it'll be easier for the interviewer to, follow along as well. All the nested subqueries, it would just be like too much for a person seeing the, solution you write, too much for them. So I would suggest CTE. I was not a fan of CTE like 2 years back. I was using subqueries, and if I write, if I go back and see my queries myself, I wouldn't understand that. So that's why I tried to like include CTEs in my day-to-day activities as well for documentation purpose, or if anyone in the future wants to see or do my report, they can easily follow along. And query optimization wise, CTE is actually better than subqueries. Okay, I hope I see your solutions on your LinkedIn soon. So I'm very pumped up about that. Okay, you guys have a great night.